In the early hours of January 15, 1947, a woman's body was discovered in a vacant lot in Los Angeles, California. The victim, later identified as Elizabeth Short, had been gruesomely murdered. Her body was severed in half at the waist and left, on display in a manner so shocking it sent waves of horror across the city. The body had been drained of blood, her mouth carved into a grotesque grin, and her body mutilated. Known as the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short was a 22-year-old aspiring actress who had recently moved to California from Massachusetts. Described as a beautiful woman with striking dark hair, she had made a name for herself in Hollywood circles, but her dreams of stardom had never materialized. She was last seen in Hollywood days before her death, but no one knew the true circumstances of her disappearance. Her family, particularly her mother, was devastated. Elizabeth had been described as a kind, ambitious young woman, yet someone with a dark past that involved several failed relationships and mysterious encounters with men. The brutal nature of the crime left detectives baffled, and the city's fear grew as rumors spread about a possible serial killer on the loose. The discovery of Elizabeth Short's body shocked the city. The vacant lot, located on the outskirts of Leimert Park, was a remote, quiet area. When a local woman named Betty Bersinger was walking with her child, she made the grisly find. At first, Betty thought she was looking at a discarded mannequin, but upon closer inspection, she realized it was the dismembered body of a woman. What made the crime even more chilling was the fact that Elizabeth's body had been posed. She was placed carefully, as though the killer wanted to send a message. The intense public fascination with the case began immediately, and the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, was under immense pressure to solve the crime. Detectives found little evidence at the crime scene other than a handwritten letter that was later sent to the press, claiming responsibility for the murder. The letter contained taunting statements, boasting about the killer's actions, but it led nowhere. As the investigation progressed, several men came under suspicion, but none were confirmed to be the killer. Police began to look into Elizabeth Short's past, uncovering various relationships she had with men in Hollywood. Some believed that a jilted lover or an obsessive fan could have been responsible for such a violent act. One of the most puzzling leads came in the form of Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner who had been close to Elizabeth before her death. Some believed that he might have been involved, but despite extensive questioning and his obvious connections to the case, police could never build enough evidence to charge him. Hansen became a central figure in the investigation, but he would eventually be cleared, leaving the case unsolved. Just when it seemed that the investigation was going nowhere, a breakthrough came. But it was a twist that left everyone stunned. A second taunting letter arrived in the mail. This one contained a piece of Elizabeth Short's birth certificate, a picture of her smiling, and a cryptic message. "Here's my dearest Dahlia. I'll make you famous." The letter was chilling as it suggested that the killer had been following Elizabeth's life closely. It was as if the killer had an obsession with her. But despite the clues, the LAPD was no closer to catching the murderer. In fact, the investigation stalled. Each lead only seemed to raise more questions than answers, and Elizabeth's name quickly became a haunting symbol of a crime with no solution. Months passed with no major developments. The case became one of the most famous unsolved murders in history. However, a startling new theory emerged. Could Elizabeth's murder be linked to the Black Dahlia Avenger? The theory suggested that a serial killer was on the loose, targeting women with similar characteristics and appearances to Elizabeth. Detectives speculated that the killer may have been involved in the entertainment industry, given Elizabeth's brief connection with Hollywood. New suspects emerged, including George Hoddle, a prominent physician in Los Angeles, who had been suspected by some investigators for his possible involvement. George Hoddle's life was full of oddities and connections to the crime, but despite the suspicions, there was never enough concrete evidence to charge him. Even after George's death, many believed that he could have been the killer, But this theory remains a mystery. Despite countless theories, investigations, and new leads, Elizabeth Short's murder remains unsolved. The case has captivated true crime enthusiasts for decades, with several documentaries, books, and podcasts exploring every angle of the crime. Was the killer someone close to Elizabeth, or was it a random act of violence? Some theorists suggest the killer could still be alive, living among us, with the truth buried in history. Over the years, the crime has become a symbol of Hollywood's dark side, a reminder of how the glamour of fame often hides secrets that can lead to tragedy. The Black Dahlia murder continues to haunt the city of Los Angeles, and Elizabeth Short's name lives on, forever tied to one of the most shocking, unsolved murders in American history.